Hey, welcome back to training. Let's quickly cover the 4 weapon safety rules like usual. The first weapon safety rule is treat every weapon as if it is loaded even when you know it's not. The second weapon safety rule is never point your weapon at anything you aren't willing to destroy. The third weapon safety rule, keep that finger straight and off the trigger until you're up on target, ready to fire. And the fourth rule is know your target and what lies beyond. All right, you know the drill. Let's clear out our pistol to ensure we aren't training with a loaded gun. If you have a manual safety, engage that, remove your magazine, lock your slide to the rear, conduct a 3-point check of your chamber, magazine well, and slide face. Ensure all 3 areas are clear of any bullets. Send your slide home, and now we know we're working with a completely cleared out pistol. If you are unsure of whether or not your pistol is clear or not, do not continue training with this video. Today's lesson has 3 segments. We're going to start by reviewing proper sight alignment and trigger control. Then we're going to quickly review follow-up sight picture from last video. And then lastly, we're going to finish up with our grip strength workout. Let's get to work. All right, let's go ahead, jump right into it. Fundamentals, stance, grip, sight alignment, good, smooth, steady trigger pull. And we're going to take 7 minutes right now and just focus on smooth, steady trigger pull. Because one of the biggest benefits of dry fire practice for beginners is training your brain, rewiring your brain to not be afraid of that gunshot. So for the next 7 minutes, we're just going to pull the trigger as many times as we can with good fundamentals to train our brain to not be afraid of this gunshot. And that way, once you go to the range, you've practiced a smooth, steady trigger pull tons and tons and tons of times. You'll also find too that when you go to the range the next time, if you haven't been to the range since you started this program, you'll shoot really well initially, and then the more you shoot, the more your fundamentals will break down. And the way that you build them back up again is by dry firing. That's why I created the course. So you come back home, throw on a video, do a couple dry fire lessons, and then rebuild your fundamentals. It's also, if you're ever going to go to the range, a good thing to practice too is throw on a video, do a quick dry fire practice run, or just, spend, 5-10 minutes and just do 50 to 100 dry fires. Also, once you go to the range, a good drill to practice, especially if you, you can really only do it if you go with a friend, is have them load your magazine and then just give it to you, and have them put some blanks in the magazine. So you have, say you have a 10-round magazine, like 2 of them are blanks and the other 8 are live fire rounds. And so 2 of the times that you pull the trigger, nothing's going to happen, but you don't know which times those are. And so you're going to shoot like that bullet's going to come out, and then one time it won't. And lots of times you'll see once you pull that trigger, no bullet comes out, beginners will go, and no bullet comes out. And that's what you're doing every time you shoot the gun. So it's called ball and dummy drill. Because you have a dummy round, and then you have your bullet, which is the ball. All right, remember, good sight alignment. You're not just going through the motions when we do this, right? I'm just talking, but don't just go through the motions. Smooth, steady trigger pull, proper grip to your chest, punch out, equal height, equal light, center mass, smooth, steady trigger pull. Once you start, you don't stop. Don't just go through the motions. Don't get complacent in your training. Right? That's why one of the reasons I tried to keep this program short is so you could just have quick bursts of really good training. Right? If you start turning them into 30 or 45-minute training videos, then it gets too exhausting and you start to lose focus. But quick 15-minute video, just focus, get good training, and then go do what you were planning on doing. But for these 15 minutes, really focus on what you're doing. Remember, nothing moves except that trigger finger. I have mentioned that in a couple videos, but nothing moves, right? Just looking for this. Smooth, steady trigger pull, but nothing moves except your trigger finger. And you want those sights to not move at all when that shot breaks. Loosey-goosey in the shoulders. Remember to pick targets all around the room. Don't just aim at one thing. Makes it more fun too. Right? If you're just shooting like the same thing over and over and over again, it kind of gets a little monotonous and boring. So keep training fun. And also, if you ever dry fire and you're just kind of like doing it on your own, you can throw on some music. You can even throw on some music while you listen to these videos. As long as you can focus, right? But listening to like some great tunes while you're dry firing can really pass the time. If you're just doing this in total silence, it probably helps a little bit that I'm talking, because that kind of gets your mind off things. But dry fire can be a little bit monotonous. I'd be lying if I said it didn't. But that's the thing. What's way worse is going to the range and not shooting well, right? Missing bullseye and then getting frustrated. Like, that's really frustrating. So, quick 15-minute training video. Can really help you out. Bad rep. Better. All right, hopefully you're starting to feel good. If you came in this a total beginner, I'm really like getting excited for you. Hopefully you are feeling a lot better about your fundamentals. And you're starting to really kind of grasp these concepts. And again, from the very beginning of this course, I said that, I bring in quite a few concepts, but I try not to overload this program because all of these concepts are going to be the fundamentals that you fall back on in a real world situation. So this is like the basic program, and a lot goes into the basic program, but a lot goes into the skills that you need in order to defend yourself and your loved ones. So try to give you all the information I can without overloading you with a bunch of information that you don't need. But, trigger control, sight alignment, these are all like crucial elements. So we've got to nail them down. We have to practice them more than once. So that's why I repeat them, instill that muscle memory, make sure we have training to fall back on. All right, let's do this one more time. All right, hopefully you feel good about that smooth, steady trigger pull. Let's move on to follow-up sight picture. All right, we're just gonna practice this quickly because, again, like I said in the last video, this is like hard to do with dry fire when you're only dry firing because you don't actually get that recoil. So just simulate your recoil, sight picture before, target, shoot, after, and come back. So 2 sight pictures per shot. And I actually thought of this last night, but a mathematical formula for all my math people out there. Number of follow-up sight pictures equals number of shots taken plus 1. So if you take 4 shots, you end up having 5 sight pictures. So a little mathematical formula to remember. If you take 100 straight shots, you have 101 sight pictures. If you take 1 shot, then you have 2 sight pictures. If you take 2 shots, you have 3 sight pictures. So remember, sight picture before and after. Smooth, steady trigger pull. Let's do this 2 more times. All right, I hope you feel good with follow-up sight picture. Now let's move on to our grip strength workout. All right, let's go ahead and jump right into it. But as we go through this grip strength workout, let's punch out, confirm our sights every single time. So when we do it, we're gonna point shoot, confirm our sights, and then put our finger on the trigger and then focus on equal height, equal light, center mass, pull the trigger. So we're kind of going through all these different steps as we're working on our grip strength. So we got 15 minutes. Let's try to maximize our time. So we're going to point, not shoot it yet, equal height, equal light, center mass, and then pull the trigger. And then just hold it there for as long as you can. So that way, we're maximizing our training time. Remember, maximum contact on that support hand between your hand and the pistol. That's going to give you really good control once you get to the range. And if you haven't been to the range since you started this program, you're going to feel like you're such better control of your pistol. You know, you're going to feel a lot more confident. And actually, a quick story about that. I went to the range like 6 months ago with my sister, and she was interested in getting a pistol to carry. And so she wanted to try and figure out what she wanted to get. And we got there, and we started out with a 380, which is a little bit smaller than a 9mm bullet, and went into the range. So we rented a Glock 42, which is a 380, and went to the range. And every time she pulled the trigger, you could just see her like just freak out, and she just couldn't get over that bullet firing. And so I said, hey, let's go down to a 22. And so we went back out, rented a 22, came back in, and you could just see her visibly relax. And so we had we were in there for like 30 minutes, had a great training session, come back out, go to the counter, and, we were saying to the guy at the gun store, like, yeah, she felt really good about the 22. And he started saying, yeah, well, it's not a really good carry gun. Like, if you're going to carry a gun, then you should like stick with, anything like 380 and above. And I didn't want to get into it with the guy, but we walked out of the store, and, I could see her getting frustrated because she's like, okay, but I didn't like that gun. She's trying to like kind of pressure into buying a gun that she wasn't comfortable shooting. And, a lot of people would say, well, if you're not comfortable carrying a 380, then don't carry at all. And this is all my own personal opinion, but there's lots of opinions when it comes to the gun community, but I would rather have a 22 that I can reliably, consistently, and accurately shoot all day long than a 9mm that I'm going to miss or no gun at all, right? It's way better to have a 22 that you are confident with than a 9mm that you're scared of or no gun at all. And so we walked out of the store, and I looked at her, and I was like, ignore everything that guy just told you, because if she gets a gun that she's not comfortable with and she cannot shoot accurately, consistently, comfortably, and confidently, then how many times do you think she's going to go to the range? 0. She's never going to go to the range in practice. And if she never goes to the range in practice, how many times do you think she's going to carry that gun? Never, right? So she's never going to practice. She's never going to carry. So rather than getting a gun that's maybe not the best defensive gun, right, but something where she can grow her skills, become more confident. Also, a really nice part about having a 22 is the ammo is really cheap. So you can go to the range and it's not really expensive. 380 is expensive. So you can practice a lot more. So there's just lots of reasons to get a 22 if there's no other way of kind of getting over that reflex of like jumping, right? Instill the fundamentals and then graduate to like a bigger gun once you have more confidence. So I'm not saying get a 22 no matter what, because if you're comfortable with a 380 or a 9mm, they're by far and away way better defensive rounds. But if you're never going to be able to kind of get over that fear factor of that gunshot firing, then get something that you can confidently and comfortably shoot so that it's fun to go to the range. Because if it's not fun, then you're never going to go, right? You're never going to do something that stresses you out. And that's the reason people don't get training, right? Because training is usually super stressful. That's why I created this program, to make it like relaxing and fun and easy, right? But if going to the range stresses you out because you just hate your gun, you might need a gun that shoots a smaller caliber. So either sell your gun and get a new one, or just, get a new one if you can afford it, and then go back and shoot the gun that you have now later once you're more comfortable. So that's my 2 cents on the subject. You have to do what you want to do, but that's a really hot topic, and a lot of people would disagree with that, but a lot of people would agree with that. So I don't know, it's kind of like 50-50 in the gun community, but my own personal opinion is especially for beginners, if you're not comfortable, then don't carry a gun or don't own a gun that you're not comfortable shooting, because when situation ever arises where you have to use that pistol to defend yourself, you want to be confident with your gun and your abilities so that you're not second guessing yourself. So until next time, stay safe, live free, and with that, I'll see you soon.